Hello and welcome back to FTLG Marathon. Coming up right now, we have Viper UK running Ridge Racer 5 Grand Prix Easy on the PlayStation 2. Take it away.
No worries, thank you very much. Yes, so hello everybody. I'm ViperUK or Viper, and I mainly do racing games. But what I've got for you today is Ridge Racer 5. This is the Grand Prix Easy. There is a medium and a hard, but for the sake of things, obviously I'm doing the easy difficulty today. We'll get into the run first, and then I'll try and explain a little bit as we go. So obviously you can name your teams and your drivers in this. Obviously I've named our team FTLG Marathon, obviously the driver being myself. So time's actually going to be when we get into the music part. So we're going to pick our car, so we get a choice of 6 cars that we can go through for this. So we have the Camaro Fiero, the Danver Torrido, the Riviera Solera, I think that's how you pronounce it, Commander Fortune, the Revelta Mercurio, which is what I'm going to be using, and there's the Himmel EO, which is also a great car if you can handle it. For the sake of things, I always use the Mercurio. So we've got standard engine, manual gears, and also, just make sure I get this right. So each time I've got to make sure that I mute music for the sake of things, so it will just be the game and the commentator a little bit over the top. But yeah, we'll get into it first and I'll explain a little bit about the game and everything like that. So if we're ready to go on time, I'll give you countdown. So count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so Ridge Racer 5. This originally released back in 2000 for the PlayStation 2. Now, fair to say that the handling model, amongst many others, was a massive step up compared to previous games in the series. So I believe the previous game in the Ridge Racer series that came before this was R4, Ridge Racer Type 4. And then obviously we went into the new era with the PlayStation 2. And we was like, right, you know, we need to, well, like most game companies, they always like, right, we need to step up our game here because obviously we've got the new consoles, new generation. We need to make sure that, you know, what we're doing is about as good as it can get. So what we have here is a new handling model amongst many others. And this was the start, in my opinion, this was the start of the next generation of Ridge Racer, which still goes on today. So Ridge Racer is a series that hasn't had a game since Ridge Racer Unbounded, I think it is, that released back in 2013. Obviously, a very popular racing series amongst many people, as I'm sure. A lot of people may be familiar with it when it released back on the original PlayStation back in 1994, I believe it was. So going back quite a fair few years. But yes, this made its debut on the PS2 back in 2000. So, how does the Grand Prix work? Well, as you might imagine, you go through several Grand Prix, little mini Grand Prix consisting of 4 races each. Now, the first race that you can see us doing here is one called Parktown. Now, I do have the names of the splits and the races as we go. So we have 4 races. The first one being Parktown. We have Outer Pass, which is the second race. We have Above the City and Bayside Line. Now, here's an interesting fact. So when you start this game for the very first time, so we're doing this all from a brand new game, the track list and the Grand Prix will be the same. However, if you decide to do all of the races again, all of the races become randomized, so you won't get the same Grand Prix the second time out. The reasons I know this is because someone else found it out before me, and it was a case of, right, okay, so let's do the Grand Prix the first time. It was like, oh, okay, now that we've got like a fully upgraded car, we should be able to do the races faster. That's the theory. But obviously then the races are all randomized, meaning you're not going to get the same run twice. So this is literally a case of you do the run the first time and all the races are the same every single time, and you kind of go from there. Now I'm going to just give a quick heads up. and just say if this game looks slightly different to what it should be, it's because it is. Mainly because of emulation and so on. I know, don't kill me for it, but yes. Anyway, so with that, that is our first. Race done and dusted. So we're now on to Outer Pass. But yeah, like I said, so it's the year 2000 was when this came out. So this came out before the original. Sorry, say the original. This came out before Gran Turismo 3, which I don't believe I've ran for Love of Gaming before, but that game went down as one of the best Gran Turismos, almost. Obviously, Gran Turismo 4 took the helm with that one, but yeah, this came out a year before that did. So, like I said, so this was the start of what I will call the next generation of Ridge Racer. The reason I say that is because the handling model, whilst it is slightly different compared to, it's a lot different compared to Ridge Racer 4, is the fact that this was also part of the time when the games were getting more advanced and the graphics were getting more advanced and so on. But we also had the likes of the case of the handling model changed. So obviously like I said, graphics advances year on year, and obviously they did back then and they still do now. The games continue to push the graphical boundaries. But yeah, the handling model between R4 and this game differed. Now, it didn't differ a lot, but you could tell there was a difference between R4 and this game. The games that came out after this, the next game that was in the Ridge Racer franchise that came out was Ridge Racer 6 and Ridge Racer 7. Ridge Racer 6 being a 360 release title, and Ridge Racer 7 being a, funnily enough, PS3 launch title. I think it was. If it wasn't, it was very early on in the PlayStation 3's life cycle. But those also had a different handling model themselves. Then we also got, around about the same time, we also got the PSP Ridge Racer games, Ridge Racer 1 and Ridge Racer 2 for the PSP. Now, fair to say that the Ridge Racer series has obviously developed over time. We have had the likes of Ridge Racer 3D for the 3DS, which I believe is a slightly different version of, I think it was of 6 or 7 that came out on the 360 of the PS3. What else do we have? We had Ridge Racer Unbounded, like I said, that was the last one. That was essentially the death of Ridge Racer in my book, because, long story short, so Ridge Racer had decided to try and make a comeback in 2012, I think it was. I think it was around that, 2012. The hell, God, it's been quite a long time since then. 10 years ago, goddamn. People are still waiting for another Ridge Racer game. It'll be highly unlikely we'll get one, unless Sony decides to do something about it. Or Namco decides to make it. But yeah, overall, Ridge Racer Unbounded was essentially an arcade-like Ridge Racer, so it tried to return to the roots of old, except it had the destruction of Burnout. Now, this wasn't exactly a good thing. Now, Ridge Racer is known for being that game where, if I'm being honest, for me, Ridge Racer will always be seen as the racing game where the main focus is to drift around corners rather than drive them. Now, yeah, okay, you could say the same thing about Initial D. But Ridge Racer was, like, the primary focus was to do that. Nice. Very clean races. Very good. Now, altogether, I will say, so there is the standard Grand Prix, which we are going to, like I said, there's a standard Grand Prix, or the basis Grand Prix, where you get the cars. So the 6 cars that I showed you at the start of this run, before this run began, this is the car that you'll be using for the entire run. Now, one other thing to mention. So because the basis Grand Prix has 6 cars to choose from, that essentially means 6 different ways to play. Which, Granted, if you're starting from a new game, you're always going to have the same races but with different cars. However, do not forget what I said earlier on. Because what I was saying earlier on was that the cars themselves, the cars themselves all handle differently. But don't forget, if you beat the game the first time round with a certain car, the next time you go to beat the races again, the races will be different. They'll be in a different order. There will be also different tracks added in or taken out. And it will change the game a little bit. So I can imagine 100% for this would probably take maybe about 4 hours, 5 hours maybe, if that. So the other thing I've not even mentioned yet. So like I said, so we're doing this on the easiest difficulty. There is a medium difficulty and there's a hard difficulty. Now, I don't know much about the medium difficulty, I'll be quite honest, but what I do know is the hard difficulty, obviously, the AI difficulty changes. I think that's kind of obvious. But, not only that, is on the hardest difficulty, you get an extra Grand Prix added on before you complete the final race. After you complete the final race for this. So, the final race for this is known as the Throne GP. And it is one race, it is 10 laps around an airport oval. Okay, fair enough. In the medium, I believe there is an extra cup as well. But in the hard difficulty, there is a full cup with 4 races, I think it is. To kind of say, right, you think you're so good at this? Try this one on for size. And then it basically dumps you with multiple races, all with different formats. And this is another thing I've not mentioned either. So Grand Prix actually has a slight difference. It has a few tweaks along the way. So, like I said, so the basis Grand Prix is us winning the cars. The races are 4 standard races. You've got to win or qualify in a certain position. Obviously, we're going to try and win because that's the fastest way of doing it. But the 4 races that come up, like I said, Parktown, Outpass, Above the City, and Bayside Line, in that order, they're the same every time. When we've done this, we then move on to the Heroic GP. Now, the Heroic GP starts to add a slight tweak. Now, the races are all, again, the different tracks. There are a few that do repeat. But we also have a timer. So this becomes like the arcade mode, essentially. It has each checkpoint you pass will enable you to have more time. We have the Blast Grand Prix, where some of the tracks are way more difficult. There are a lot more tight tracks. There's another Grand Prix, which I can't remember the life of me what it is. But long story short, the tracks are in reverse, the 4 tracks that you do. And finally, as I said, to finish off the Throne Grand Prix, it's the Airport Oval track on this, and you do 10 laps. And that race is about 5 minutes long, there or thereabouts. But yeah, like I said, each car handles differently. The 6 cars that you can choose from at the very start all have various characteristics. So you have a drift characteristic, you have a standard characteristic, and you have a dynamic characteristic. Now, the car that we're using, which is the not the Solar, I forget what it was called now. The Mercurio has the standard drift type. Now, this has the third fastest speed in the game. And it is also the one that I pick. For one reason. So, upon testing this altogether, upon going through the cars, the easiest one I found to drive was this one. Now, you're probably wondering why, like, out of all the cars, why this one? Like I said, I find it personally the easiest to drive. Now, the EO, which is like what I will call the Porsche 911 lookalike, which is often found at the front of the pack, is the quickest car by far. It is quite a handful. The car feels like it's on rails going around corners. It's very difficult. The second fastest car is the Ferrari lookalike, which, if I can get to it, is this car in front of us right now, this yellow car. In red, it looks very similar to the Outrun Ferrari, for those that have played the Outrun games. Oh, I think he's actually leading too. Please don't get in my way. Yes. Okay, we made it. We got in front of him. Nice. But yeah. So what are the main things that I actually managed to learn? So I never played this game when it released, funnily enough. So my story with this game goes that about 3-4 years ago, I went to a gaming market, because we do have some of them in England from time to time. And there was a shop that was selling PS2 games for a couple of £2 each. Or a couple of quid, as I would say, as us Brits would say. And this game was on sale for £2, which is, I think, about, what, €3-4, something like that. And I was like, ooh, I've not played Ridge Racer 5, I wonder what that's like. So, after it being sat on my shelf for quite a while, I decided to start playing it. And I couldn't quite grasp it. I didn't like the handling, and basically the game didn't sit right with me straight away. Now this is interesting. You're probably wondering, well, how the hell did you get into speedrunning it? Well, as luck would have it, or not, maybe, I decided to give this game another try. I think this is how most people get into certain games, right? So I give it a second try, and I was thinking, okay, so I remember the handling was really bad. But then, as I started to play it, I was like, oh, there's a certain way to playing this game. So for me, the magic trick, if I can call it this, for me to play this game, or the trick in terms of the handling or how to drive properly, is start steering around a corner, let off the gas, and let the car drift round. But quickly get back on the gas again. The car will drift, you'll lose speed, but the car will also drift round the corner. For the most part, now I can't speak for all cars here, but this one tends to grip the road quite well, meaning that I don't need to actually grip the corner very much, and the drifting's very little. As I was saying though about the EO is the fastest car, and its acceleration is really, really good. Now, the one thing I will mention is that, like I said, out of the 6 cars, the EO is the best to drive in terms of speed. But in terms of accessibility, especially for a newcomer, I'd recommend either not the drift cars, the mild cars, I think it is. I think that's what they're called, the mild cars. There's the mild, the standard, and the drift. This is a standard car. The mild ones are cars that are more meant for, they don't have very high top speed, they've got okay acceleration, but they are slow. Whether the handling is good for them or not, I do not know. I genuinely have no idea. But obviously, with it being a speed run, speed is obviously key here. Obviously, this kind of comes without saying, but if you want to get the best possible time in a game like Ridge Racer, then you will have to learn manual gears. Now here's an interesting one as well. So there is 6 control schemes for the game. I use Type E. So Type E is essentially you're driving with R1 and L1 as brake and accelerate, with the buttons for changing up and down a gear. I think it's X is to change down a gear. And square is to change up a gear, I believe. I can't quite remember. Oh, no, sorry, other way around. X is to change up a gear, square is to change down a gear. That's it. Like I was saying, for the most part, the car will make it round corners. You can take too much speed into corners, which I did there, which is unfortunate. Now, unfortunately, I think this kind of goes without saying, but due to DMCA and all that rubbish, I can't play any of the soundtrack, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, Ridge Racer, this got kick-ass soundtrack. It would have if I could play it. Personally, it's not my personal favourite soundtrack, but these games are known for having a pretty good soundtrack at the best of times. Also, here's a fun thing, speaking of the Ridge Racer games. So you may remember how I mentioned that Ridge Racer 5 was PS2, one of the PS2 original launch titles, or there or thereabouts, released in 2000, with the 360 getting Ridge Racer 6 and the PS3 getting Ridge Racer 7. So believe it or not, Ridge Racer 6, I believe, up until Ridge Racer Unbounded, was the only console exclusive game in the series up until Ridge Racer Unbounded. So Ridge Racer 6 never released on any other platform but 360. Essentially, Ridge Racer 7 was Ridge Racer 6, but with more stuff added. It was also noted as well for being in 1080p, whereas Ridge Racer 6 for the 360 was 720p. So even if you play the game in 1080, it's still technically 720p, 60 FPS, just for those as a heads up. Now, how am I going to go on outside? Yes, I am. Also, that is the Basis Grand Prix done and dusted, which also means that we get a upgraded car. You may notice as well that we have a few other things as well. So I'm going to have to like spam this now. So go through all this. Just to get through this. Also, yes, we got the car, we got new engine. So we're going to go back into Grand Prix. So now we have Extra, we have the Heroic Grand Prix. Now it'll say, which car would you like to select? So the car that we've just been using is now upgraded. So it's now capable of way more speed, which is a really good thing. Oops. Oh well, it's fine. So I can change the music when I go into the game. It's fine. I spammed through the menus a bit too fast there. So I think I can... Yes, I can do this. There we go. There we go. Cool. So now, because we've now got into the Heroic Grand Prix, or the Extra, the car that we're now using is a lot faster. All the AI is going to be a lot faster. Our top speed is going to be way better. So we get... so your car goes through 2 major upgrades. Now, it says that you go through 3 major upgrades, but personally, I only spot 2. So, you have your standard car when you are doing the Basis Grand Prix. You have your standard car. When you get to the Extra Grand Prix, or when you start the Heroic Grand Prix, which is under the Extra section, your car gets upgraded so it has way more speed. And then you have... Oh god, that was not a good corner. It's fine. Can I get through his inside? Yes, I can. Okay, good. Cool. Phew, that was a close one. But yes, so you have 2 major upgrades. So this is your first major upgrade. Now, like I said, it says that there's engine upgrades as you go. But I personally don't spot much of a difference in terms of acceleration, top speed, or anything like that, personally speaking. The biggest difference you'll notice is when you get to the Throne Grand Prix. So just before you get to the Throne Grand Prix, you have the Night Grand Prix. This was the one I was looking for. I saw it in the menus before, so I'm going to kind of go with that. So the Night Grand Prix is the races that are all done. All races are done in reverse. So the races, like I said, they're all done in reverse and everything like that. It's fine. No problem. But it is worth mentioning that in the Night Grand Prix, the races become much more difficult because they are now back to front. However, if you win the Night Grand Prix, before you go into the Throne Grand Prix, which is the finale for the Grand Prix mode on easy, you get another engine upgrade. Now, at this point, your car is capable of doing over 230 miles an hour. So the car goes from doing like... So this car goes from doing around 160 to about 200, I want to say. 190, 200 to 240. 230, 240. Now, bear in mind, this is the standard car. This is the 3rd fastest car. The fastest car, which is the EO, is capable of reaching speeds of up to 250, 260 miles an hour. It is ridiculously fast, but if you can master the EO, then obviously hats off to you. But also, you'll have an extremely quick car on your hands. I think that should come as no surprise. But yeah, the cars do get quicker as you go. Yeah, if we've got anything you want to mention about charity, by the way, feel free to go right ahead.
Of course. So we are raising money for the To Write Love on Her Arms. To Write Love on Her Arms is a non-profit movement dedicated to presenting hope and finding hope for people struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. So if you have the money to donate and you're willing to donate, make sure to donate, as it is a great cause. And the donation link is in chat now after !donate.
There we go. So, we've just done Outer Pass. That's the first race in the Heroic Grand Prix. We're now on Above the City. So, Above the City is a slight modification to... I think it's... not Outer City, what's it called? I think it's like City Pass or something like that. You'll also notice as well, this is a night race. So me personally, one thing that I never really took much notice of, and can easily give a lot of credit for, is this game's nighttime vision, the nighttime mode. I think it is very cool to have such a thing. Also, I'm going to try and get past this guy before the corner. Don't know if I can manage it, but I will try my best. Yes, okay, we should be good. Okay. Ooh, that's very close. Ooh. Oh, very close, very close. That was very close to hitting the wall. As I said, the cars can easily snap on you as well when it comes to handling, so you do have to be careful. But yeah, for a night race, this looks really, really good. Also, he got in my way. No, don't get in my way. So, another thing to mention as well, which is quite useful for the speedrun, is predicting AI patterns. Now, the AI, for the most part, when it starts, will move in a certain pattern. If you can get past them at the exact moment, you'll be able to just pass all the field with ease, as you've seen me do, without hitting anybody. Obviously, again, sometimes it can't be helped. Sometimes you do hit the AI, and, you know, it happens. Not, you know, I'm not perfect, but yeah, that's something. Now, I will mention that this Above the City track is way harder in reverse. So we will have a reverse variant of this, and you will see like how difficult it can get. The other thing to mention as well is that we also have a familiar race coming up. So it is called Sunny Beach. And in the games there, it is often known as Seaside Route 765. So for those that have played the original Ridge Racer games and things like that, it'll be a track very much familiar. So there are like one or two tracks from the Ridge Racer series that are in most Ridge Racer games. Seaside Route 765, I think, is in near enough every Ridge Racer game bar Ridge Racer Unbounded, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. Oh, I forgot to mention this before. So you may remember mentioning about Ridge Racer 6 being the only game on the Xbox. It wasn't the only game to stand alone on one particular platform. So, like I said before, we had Ridge Racer 3DS, Ridge Racer 3D for the 3DS. The PS Vita got its own version, which was just Ridge Racer, I believe it was called. Ooh, come on. There we go. Get back up to speed. And we also had Ridge Racer on the Nintendo DS. Now, Ridge Racer on the Nintendo DS is also an interesting time, to say the least. The handling for that game is very, very odd. Now, I haven't tried the 3DS version, nor have I tried Ridge Racer for the PS Vita. But from what I can tell for both consoles, the game graphically is very well put together for both the PS Vita and also the 3DS respectively. If you have one of those consoles, would highly recommend trying to pick a version or a copy of those up. If not, don't worry about it, but if you have either of those consoles, would highly recommend it. Also, that is Above the City done. Now, the funny thing is, for a run that's about, what is it, like an hour and 20 odd, you do, I think it's around something like an hour and, I think it's something like, you do something around 20 to 25 races altogether. with hard having around 30 races. So the hard mode, the hard Grand Prix, or Grand Prix hard, is about an extra 10 minutes in length, maybe a bit longer, due to the fact that in the hard mode, as I said, you have more races. So you're obviously going to have a bit more of an interesting time with that one. I think, oh, there's a car on my left, I can't see him. I tagged him, so I know he's there. So, I want to try and get past this car, ideally. Oh, God. Okay, maybe not. No, it's not going to happen. No, it's definitely not going to happen now. Never mind. I was going to say, I want to try and get around the outside of this car, ideally, before I get to this corner. So it allows me to line myself up with the other cars. That's a shame, but it's not too much time lost. The thing is, if you're going for, like, world record pace or anything like that, obviously every second, as you might imagine, every second counts. So, movement and precision is the aim with these games, I found out. Memorizing AI patterns, making sure they don't get in your way, how soon you can move past them, where you can move past them, when you can move past them. Personally, the perfect run for this game doesn't exist, although I would highly recommend checking out someone by the name of Yuki, who's an absolute god at Ridge Racer games altogether. Now, the funny thing is, so Yuki has done a run of Ridge Racer 5, the Grand Prix hard mode. Like I said, it's about 125 or something like that, 123. In that run itself, they get to the point where this run ends, and it is about 4 minutes faster than myself. So if Yuki ever does that run, you've fair to say that there is a lot of time. Now, the main reason being for that is, one, I'm not that good compared to Yuki. Yuki is really, really good. The second thing is Yuki uses the EO, a car which I cannot drive. So would highly recommend checking out someone called, I think it's Arms08 Yuki or something, that's on the leaderboards, or Yuki, as they're known. But yeah, fair to say, Yuki really knows their stuff. I mean, I think it was like, we had, so Yuki came along and completely destroyed Ridge Racer 7 for the PS3. So the record for that game, I know it's kind of getting a bit off topic, but the Ridge Racer 7 record for the Grand Prix mode was a 221 or 223 by me at the time. Yuki came along like 216 without breaking a sweat. Then found out that there are special events that you can do. So these special events allow you to unlock the final races of the game, like the final Grand Prix of the game, but your car will not be very well upgraded. Anyway, so with this in mind, Yuki put the ultimate task against himself, and as long as we have it, beat the game in 54 minutes. Or something like that. It was, 55, I can't remember. Something like that. It was under an hour. So bear in mind it took like 2.5 hours to do the game normally. Yeah, just like casually sub 1 hour like you do. It's like absolutely crazy. Ridge Racer then came to Ridge Racer 6, where I was doing runs at the time. Found that there was a much faster route for the basic goals. In that game there's like several different basic goals. And came along and absolutely destroyed them one at a time. Fair to say that they're out of reach. The cars, but the thing is as well is with these more modern Ridge Racer games, the more modern Ridge Racer games have nitrous and a boost system and stuff like that. These are games, obviously the older ones, did not have the added boost system, the added nitrous system. So this one was, in my opinion, along with the Ridge Racer DS game, I don't know, I can't speak for the 3DS or the Vita game, but this was the last game that was in the Ridge Racer series that didn't have that was just authentic racing. There was no boost system, there was no fancy nitrous stuff or anything like that. It was just pure racing, get from here to here, and that's that. So yeah, there you go. The more you know. Or at least I try to fill with information. Speaking of information, have we got any information we want to mention about charity or any donations that we want to read?
We have not received any donations so far this run, but make sure to get your donations in. The charity we are supporting is To Write Love on Her Arms. It is a non-profit movement dedicated to presenting hope and finding help for people struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. So make sure to use the link down below or in chat using !donate. Get donations in, as it's an incredible cause.
Alright, thank you very much. So, this was the race I was on about. Seaside Route 765. And fair to say, this race is over quite quickly. So laps take around 1 minute or less. Unless you have a bad lap. Then at which point you might have a fair bit of trouble. Like for example, I always have a fun time getting around these guys here. Because for some weird reason, they always like to block you if they can. You can like get past them on the inside, but I kind of choose not to here. So obviously we're going to try and get past them before, I'm pretty sure we can. Yes, we can. Oh god, hello. Oh, that was... Oh, okay. That was pretty close. Yeah, we should be good. Can I get up the inside? Yes, I can. Good stuff. Okay. So now we're at the front. It should be relatively straightforward. Now, I have managed to do this in sub 1. Well, that's not going to happen. Oh, shame. But I have managed to do a sub 1 first lap before. I think with the EO it's definitely possible. I have no doubt about that. Obviously, if it was Yuki driving, it's definitely doable. See, now I did ask Yuki about why he hadn't gone for the easy mode. I was like, you can do a run very, very quick on the hard mode. I'm like, you'll easily do well on easy. And his thing, not excuse, but what he said back was the fact that it's down to the fact that the AI is so annoying, because on easy difficulty, you're going that fast, you're catching the AI. Whereas on hard, once you get to the front, it's hard to catch up the cars at the back, I think, is what he was getting at. So, yeah, there you go. Also, 57 lap time, let's go. Should be able to do another 57, or 58, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's see what happens with traffic on this lap. But yeah, like I said, Seaside Route 765, a very popular track in the Ridge Racer universe. The other thing is, as well, is the way that this game is broken up. So the games have stories, but for the most part, it takes a back seat and racing is the main priority. But the whole point of it is that it's sponsored by Ridge City FM, that is like doing, hence the reason why you can hear the commentators over the top. So yeah, there you go. Also, I should theoretically be able to do sub 3 here. Come on. Not bad, very close. Nice. So the next one we have is, so that's the Heroic Grand Prix done. And now what we've got to do, we've got to go through the menus again. We've got to span through menus again.
Okay, this is your new car. You've got a new and
then we go into
Grand Prix. Break away from the
and
pack
then
first place.
there we go, last Grand Prix. So we've got to get the car again, as you saw before. There we go. I got it this time. Yes, I remembered. Okay, cool stuff. So, first race in the Blast Grand Prix is Bayside Line. Now, the Blast Grand Prix has a different aspect to it. So, this is where... Remember how I said before, each Grand Prix has something different. So, the Heroic Grand Prix, I believe, is to try and introduce you into the world of the cars are getting faster. So, you're going to need to prepare yourself. Well, now, this turns into, like, the classic arcade mode from Ridge Racer games, because now what's about to happen is, as you can see on the left hand side, we now have a time limit. So there are several checkpoints on the tracks that we're going to have to hit, and we're going to have to be quick. So racing games back in, I'm pretty sure it goes as far back as the 80s, but racing games in the 90s often had obviously a checkpoint system. Games nowadays still have a checkpoint system. Now, fair to say, this is not going to be a problem for us. We're going to keep getting checkpoint after checkpoint after checkpoint. But this is where it starts to test a beginner. In my opinion, this is where, even on easy difficulty, this can test you. Now, obviously, if you go through the standard or the hard difficulty for the game, or the medium, the hard difficulty, whichever one it is, this time limit will obviously be shorter. So you really will have to get quicker and quicker and quicker. Like I said, the hard difficulty will probably start easy and then get more difficult. But if you're an expert, it should be easy the whole way through, I believe. I don't know. Maybe. It is worth noting, so I don't really talk about this corner very often, but this corner here, this one that we're on right now, the oval, the ring, in my opinion, is the most pain in the ass corner of the entire game, or the entire run, because in my opinion it's difficult to get right. Like in the modern games, they made it so much easier, but in this one it was like, no, we're really gonna make it difficult for you. And my god, did they make it difficult. They really did. So just a quick one to kind of throw it out there, has anybody else played this game before? And if so, what are your memories of it? I'm intrigued.
I know I have never.
I was gonna say, Corey's never, you never. What do you make of it so far then? Let me ask you that one. I know it's a typical racing game, but
it looks pretty tricky. I haven't played too many racing games ever, really. Never played them.
okay, let me ask you this then. So for obviously, I know this is on emulation, but if with it being a 2000 game, does it not look too bad for a game that came out in 2000, like the start of the PlayStation 2's life cycle? Do you think?
I think it looks good, yeah, for the start of PlayStation 2.
Because bear in mind,
seeing other games,
this was before like Gran Turismo 3, Ratchet and Clank, you know, other games that were, in my opinion, are more technologically advanced, graphically enhanced, I guess, advanced. So, but yeah, also I do quite like, I think a lot of people may agree with me on this, one of the things that they actually kept through the games, I don't know how soon it started in the Ridge Racer franchise, but the Pac-Man thing in the bottom left corner, they actually kept that in Ridge Racer 6 and 7. I don't know if it goes back to Ridge Racer 4, but the two Ridge Racer games on PSP had this. I don't know about the DS or 3DS or the Vita versions, so again, don't quote me on that. I do know Unbounded didn't have it, but what I do remember is on Ridge Racer 6 and 7, you can actually play Pac-Man. I think it was on 7, you could play Pac-Man, and on 6 you could... oops. Damn it, got me away. I think it was on Ridge Racer 7, you could play Pac-Man, and on 6 you could play... oh, what was it called? It was like Super Rally or something. I can't remember what it was called. I'm not sure altogether. I can't remember. X Rally, that was it. That was what it was called, X Rally. For anyone that remembers that game. So in Ridge Racer 6, whenever you booted the game, you were able to play it. And in Ridge Racer 7, you always got to play Pac-Man, I believe it was. Was it that? Do you know what? I genuinely don't remember which one it was now. One of the Ridge Racer games you were able to play X Rally. I think it might actually, no, wait. Wait. I think 6 and 7 you could play Pac-Man. I think it was in Ridge Racer 1 for the PSP, or Ridge Racer 2. You could play X Rally or something, or it let you play it as a bonus game. I can't quite remember. But it's really cool to have, like, bonus games inside the main game. It's really, really good. So, I always like that. I think that's pretty cool. It's like, in the Project Gotham Racing games, Project Gotham Racing 3 and 4, for the 360, you could actually play Geometry Wars, the full version of the game, which is really, really cool. Maze type racing game, yeah, that's it, Tompano. That's the one. I couldn't remember. I was like, it's in a maze and you have a car that's always chasing you. You can get rid of your fuel. Well, you have to collect flags in a maze-like race. And it's a top-down view. And you have an AI chasing you, or several AI chasing you. And you've got to watch your fuel meter, and you've got to pick up things. Oh, and you also can't crash either, because you lose a life. Back in when racing games made you lose lives, it was weird. I always find that an odd dilemma. Like, there are racing games that have a life system. I always think racing games are a bit daft if they have a life system. Like, I get characters, like, for example, Crash Bandicoot, or Spyro, or something along them lines, but at the same time, like, cars, really? I'm like, really? Cars with lives? It's like, oh no, you fell down the hole. I'm like, yeah, and why am I getting lives here? This is weird. Also, so we're back on Sunny Beach, which is again Seaside Route 765. This is a relatively straightforward circuit, as I said. Yeah, Bizarre Creations, that's the one. He made Geometry Wars and PGR. It's like, yeah, so what? Ah, well. But I always just thought it was very, like, don't get me wrong, I think with racing games having back then, and they kind of lack it now, I think, but again, this is just my opinion on the matter, but I think with racing games having timers and things like that, like a checkpoint based system, I like that. But I think that having a racing game that relies on lives, I mean, I think Rally X was an arcade game. It wasn't the same sort of time as Pac-Man, but I believe it wasn't far off. But, yeah. Also, we got a sub 1 first lap. I didn't even realise. Damn. GG. I was saying before, I was like, maybe I can do it. Like, yep. Just do it without even looking or without even thinking. One thing I seem to be good at, and this is something that still baffles me now, is, so obviously, fair to say I've done quite a fair few marathons over the years, and it always seems to be, I always think talking distracts yourself, but for me, it disregards anything I'm doing. Like, you think, oh, it's a racing, you need loads of concentration. Most racing games actually don't need as much concentration as you think. But then again, I suppose it depends if you practice them or not. For the most part, I'd say most racing games are fairly simple, don't require a lot of concentration. But if it's like, oh yeah, I need to buy this part, or I need to upgrade this car now, it's like, Also, that race was really good. We got a gold split that race. Let's go.
Let's go.
So the next race is Parktown. So Parktown is the same as the first race that we did in the game. You may remember the first race. So these laps, again, this is also short. We also have Parktown this time is at night. So, yeah. makes a bit of a difference. I will say that the one thing that the Ridge Racer games definitely did well, in my eyes, was they really did night racing well. Like, especially in the later games in the series. Like I said, Ridge Racer 6 and 7, the games really pop at night or with nightlife. So hats off to the developers for doing such a great job. Also, that was easy. Very easy. Also, don't be surprised if you hear the commentator say the same things over and over. I'm just going to throw that out there now. He does get a bit annoying. A lot of people do turn him off. I keep him on because I've been used to him for so long. But I can understand why people turn him off, because he can be a bit annoying, saying 2 laps to go, 1 lap to go, final lap. I can understand that. So one of the things that was doable in the games with the nitrous, the Ridge Racer games with nitrous, was if you hit the gas at the right moment, you're actually able to get a boost start, and was able to do quite well from the get-go, pretty much. These games, well, I can't really speak for the originals. I presume there was a way of getting a boost start. But in this game, I cannot see or find a way of getting the boost start. Getting to a certain part of the countdown, I just can't see it. It's very bizarre. Also, yeah, this race has gone pretty quick already. Ooh, oh my god, that was close. I think even that guy was amazed that we managed to do that. Getting close to cars in this game is dangerous. Very dangerous. Because you genuinely don't know where they're going to end up. Like, where you're going to end up overtaking them. If they're on the left, go to the right. If they're on the right, go to the left. It's as simple as that, really. But they will get in your way. That's not that's not a joke. Unfortunately, there are times where they can get in your way, like that. He was right on the racing line. So yeah, there we go. So we have one last race to do for this cup. You may notice this cup has gone a slight bit faster than usual. So this is Greenfield. I don't really know if it's got any resemblance to any other track, but yeah, this is Greenfield. There we go. Yes, it has. Ridge City Highway. I can't remember what it's actually... I think it's known as Ridge City Highway. This track is known as something else in other Ridge Racer games, but I can't remember for the life of me what it is. I mean, if anyone knows the name of this, feel free to shout it out in chat, because I have genuinely no idea. Like, genuinely no idea. Also, we're already into the top 3, which is really, really good. Now, I have an opportunity here to get past this guy before... Ooh. Okay, don't know how I'm going to do this. Like that. Yeah, okay. That's how we do it. And that's how you pass everybody cleanly and efficiently without hitting anybody. Nice.
The winner of this Grand Prix will be determined in this final race. So who's gonna have the last lap?
So yeah, we've got like about 4 or 5 minutes. Like I said, for the most part, this run takes a back seat. Yeah, if we've got anything you want to fly out or anything you want to talk about, feel free to go right ahead.
Still, if you have the money you want to donate to write Love on Her Arms, go ahead. But after this run, we'll be having a little short break. But right after, we'll have Oxmorn playing Light Matter, 90% NMG. So make sure you stick around for that.
Just to mention as well, I think now is probably a better time than any. So, for those that don't know, I know this is kind of a bit weird, isn't it? I'm 52 minutes into the run, I'm doing a bit of an introduction. So for those that don't know what I primarily do, as in what I primarily stream on Twitch, so I do racing games. I would go as far as saying anything I do is a racing game. but that may be an understatement. So my main game go-to of choice is the Colin McRae Rally franchise. That is now known as the Dirt franchise. I would get into that, but I'm rather not. But yeah, I've done a variety of racing games. I don't really touch Need for Speed, surprisingly. Not as much as you might think. And when I do touch it, it's the games that nobody likes, or nobody likes to run. But yeah. So, for those that don't know who I am, like I said, I'm Viper. I mainly do racing games and things like that. I try and stream as and when I can during the week. And sometimes at weekends as well. There is also one thing to mention as well, is that you guys will be seeing me again on Sunday, Sunday evening, because I'm going to be showing off Reservoir Dogs, the any percent category. So for those that have never seen the film, let's just say it's a run and gun sort of game. It's completely different to what I do. There is driving in it, surprisingly, but for the most part there is a lot of shooting and stuff like that. If you've never seen Reservoir Dogs the film or the game, like I said, you're in for a treat. I mean, to give a hint as to what you can expect other than just shooting and a bit of driving, I genuinely will have no idea. Like, I have not the foggiest idea. I will try and explain that as I want to go. But that is on Sunday, I believe, I think it's around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. UK time. I don't know what it is. GMT, I have no idea. I have no idea with time. I'm no good with time zones. Time zones are like my one pet peeves. I just can't. So, yeah. Also, this might be good to know. 3 gold splits in a row. So, yeah, that was pretty good. I didn't ever think I'd do that, but there you go. Right.
Speedy.
Exactly, yeah. We were really going fast. Right, okay. So, I'm going to go to the Night Grand Prix. So, the Night Grand Prix is where all of these races now will be backwards. So, they'll all be in reverse. So, there we go. And then... there we go. Okay, so, first of the 4 races is above the city. We have Sunny Beach, or Seaside Route 765. And then we also have Greenfield, which you've just seen, in reverse. And I believe there is Parktown, which is the last race. So some of these races will be quick, others will be a bit tricky. Now I will say as well, for the most part, that this race is pretty damn difficult to get right. Like, the normal way of doing it is relatively straightforward, but it can get tricky. Very tricky. So these corners in particular are my biggest weakness, because I can never get them right. I can, for some reason, get them right now. That's actually quite good that I got them right. Phew. But them series of corners is very difficult. It's alright when you get in front. Like I said, once you get in the lead, it's fine. But yeah, for the rest of the time, no. It's not. This track in reverse is not fun. Ooh. And I may have dropped a bit of speed there. That's fine. So now you'll notice as well the time limit has gone. So we don't have to worry about, oh no, checkpoint and time limit. Because now it's back to like genuine racing, but it's in reverse. So, yeah. Like I said, this is the last Grand Prix before the finale. And like I said, the weird thing is, the fact that they called it a Grand Prix, the last one, when it's just the one race, is a bit ridiculous. I personally think they could have just done with calling it like just finale or something. Just something plain, rather than calling it the Throne GP and then going, yeah, there's just one race here and it's 10 laps. It's like, really? That's all you got? You could have really, come on, it's like, come on Namco, you could have made the effort here. You made the effort with the other Ridge races, what, with the other Grand Prix, why did you not make the effort with this last one? I don't know. I'm guessing time constraints, but again, I will never know. I've never inquired into Namco and ask them this. I don't think I ever want to.
There are many race events going on in Ridge.
I think Namco's still going, right?
Check them all out and enjoy racing.
I've not heard much about Namco. I
Uh,
presume it's still going, right?
I'm not sure.
I mean, they made Tekken 7, I think. So I want to say yeah. I genuinely have no idea.
I'll look it up.
Or Bandai Namco, or Namco Bandai, whichever way around it is. Bandai Namco, that's it. Pretty sure they're still going, right? Yeah, I thought so. Theoretically, Ridge Racer is their IP. And the funny thing is, every year, so this may come as no surprise, but every year whenever Sony does their State of Play or, well, actually, yeah, it's every time when Sony does a State of Play, everyone's like, Ridge Racer 8, Ridge Racer 8, please, another Ridge Racer, please, please, please. And it never happens. Everyone's like, oh, it's like, another year without Ridge Racer. But it's like me with Driver. I would love another Driver game. But Ubisoft will never make it because that IP is dead. Driver's another great game series that died off. There's so many great racing series that's died off in like the last 10, 15 years. Ridge Racer, Driver, Flat Out, to name a few. Burnout, Blur, Split Second, Project Gotham Racing. All great racing series. Excuse me. I'm like, it's not fair. Why can I not have, like, why can these racing series not come back? I'm like, why? Please. Please make a return. Namco, make another Ridge Racer. Ubisoft, pull your finger out your backside and make another Driver. Please. Oh dear. Yeah, this race in reverse is a very tricky bugger. Oh, okay. Very, very tricky. It's going to get more tricky because now I don't know the patterns of the AI. So I'm going to have a fun time getting past the AI here. Let's just put it that way. We'll see what happens. Okay. Come on, car. Come on. Come on. Fourth. I can make past third. Come on. Make past third. Yeah. So normally I'd be passing first on this corner here. But that's not happening. Come on. Come on. Come on. Power. Oh no, not this last corner. Nope. I'm not getting past there. There we go. And we're in the lead just before the end of the first lap. How marvellous. So this is like the Seaside Resort. 765, I think it's Seaside Route 765, I was saying. But in reverse. But notice how the start-finish line has changed. It's not where you think it is. It's very strange. I wish it was in the right place, but it's not. And it very much annoys me that it isn't. It's not on this main start-finish straight. It's very different. Very odd.
Wow, great cornering.
Also, you'll hear him say that a lot. Wow, great cornering. Also, just as a quick heads up with the time, this is probably going to go way underestimate, like about 5 or 8 minutes underestimate, give or take, depending on what happens. But like I said, I will let you know when time is. We'll catch up to back markers. So the back markers are the main pain for Grand Prix mode. In case I haven't mentioned this yet, bizarrely enough, or in case it hasn't been obvious, yeah. So, back markers can be a real pain, because if you catch them at the wrong moment or at the wrong spot on the track, they really get in your way, like really get in your way. You want to catch them on at a good spot so you can easily overtake them. I think we may have caught someone. Yes, we have. And it's at the worst possible place. Oh, no, 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 no. It's fine. Oh, okay. I'll take that, given... Yeah. I'll take that, given... That race didn't go down great, but... it's fine. So, we've got the next one, which is Greenfield, as I said. And then we have... it says Park Town, but I meant to put Park Town, I think. Or Port Town. There we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
So yeah, like I said before as well with the car upgrades, like I said, our car's fast now, but it will be even more quicker when we get to the part that I'm on about. Trust me, it will get very, very fast.
That was wicked.
The one thing I don't do here, or don't do very often, is notice how I stayed in 4th gear there. That was simply for one reason, because I knew that the AI would slow down. I was like, I know what's going to happen here. It's not going to be pretty, but I know what's going to happen. It's not great.
Got the perfect weather conditions for it.
Oh, if you turn in too early to that corner, by the way, you're in trouble. Because you can easily slow down and knock the walls. This is another thing as well, is how close you're willing to get to the walls without losing speed. The closer you get to the walls without hitting them, the more speed you can take through corners, as you can see. But, for the most part, it's not bad. Not bad at all. So obviously we're trying to minimize drifting as much as possible. Like I said, for a game that's mainly about drifting, we do try and actually minimize the drifting, because then it allows us to just speed around the corners. Obviously, if we need to drift, then we'll drift. It's as simple as that. I'll be honest, I'm out of things to say. I got nothing. I'm literally speechless. I've nothing left. I know the record. So emulator and console split up for this. The emulator record as it stands is a 1:17:06. My console run is a 1:18, I think, 1:19 maybe. Simply because of the fact it takes longer. It just takes longer to load, obviously. And pesky PS2 load times. Yeah, I don't know how good this run's really going. I genuinely think that this run's going really, really well. And could be close to my PB, but wouldn't beat it. I know that. Because I lose about a few seconds a lap. A few seconds of race. Oh, well, I'm going to lose even more time now to that nut. But still, I try my best. Oh, okay, back marker. Let's don't get in the way. Thank you. But yeah, like I said, this is like the last, in my opinion, the last genuine Ridge Racer game that had just pure driving. There was no nitrous system or anything like that. Also, totally didn't nearly get lost then with where I was going. Excuse me. It is worth noting as well that the car manufacturers that are all made up, true to Ridge Racer's philosophy, they did actually stick with the manufacturers. So the cars that are in this game didn't make an appearance in Ridge Racer 6, 7, you know, and they came off as actual, like, genuine manufacturers. Here's a fun fact for you. So there's the Soldat Raggio. the Soldat Raggio, which is a synonymous car, particularly towards the end of the Ridge Racer games, or Ridge Racer series as a whole. They actually made Bandai Namco teamed up with, I can't remember what the car company was called. They teamed up and actually built a real life Ridge Racer car. Sold it as Soldat Raggio. I think it was on the show at the Tokyo Geneva show in 2006 or something like that. Would highly recommend checking it out. It looked stunning. Like race livery and everything, just like it is in the video game. It is amazing. I was like, I'm not being funny. I was like, I'm not being funny. If I had the money, I would have bought that thing. Obviously, we're talking like millionaire stuff probably, but somebody actually owns that car as well. Like, this is no joke. Somebody actually owns the real life Soldat Raggio. It's not the first video game car that's been created in real life. For those that may or may not be aware, Rockstar teamed up with a car company, I think it was Dodge actually, and made the real life Banshee from Grand Theft Auto 5, I think it was. They made a real life car and it was a competition to win the car, and some kid won it. Couldn't drive it, and eventually it got sold off to somebody else who could drive it. And it is road legal, you can drive it. I think there's some massive engine in it. I think they put a Viper V10 engine in it or something like that to give it the actual Banshee experience. Either it was a GTA 4 Banshee they made or GTA 5 Banshee. I'm pretty sure it was the GTA 5 Banshee because it was a competition that was running with Grand Theft Auto. So, yeah. But yeah, fun fact, isn't it? The more you know. Pretty cool, huh? But yeah, he's always saying, whoa, that's some wicked steering. I'm like, yes, I know. I'm driving it, remember? Also, this will be the last race that we are going to do before we go to the final. And the final is literally 5, maybe 6 minute race. I think it is. It's here somewhere. Where's the finish line? It's coming up. Nice. That's the night Grand Prix done and dusted. So that moves us nicely onto the final one.
Congratulations.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Grand Prix.
And standard.
The pack and claim first place.
There you go, 1 round. So, here's our car. As you've seen before, you've seen it a few times now. This thing goes. So the airport oval is a 10-lap race. It's 10 laps. Laps are about 30 seconds apiece, and the cars to about 230 miles an hour. I mean, if you look at the gears and the speed we're going to be reaching, so we're already at 200 miles an hour now. This actually takes a fair bit to get to the lead, because laps are only 30 odd seconds, but there's 10 laps. Now you can use the slipstream, although I would not recommend it. I don't think it works. Personally speaking, I don't think it works. Not often, anyway. Ooh. Go up into 6. That's... Crack the top 5. There we go. Come on. fourth. 0.2 of a second behind next car. Although it seems like a mile away. Third. Second, come on. For the lead. Almost. We got the lead. There we go. We're up into the lead, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Now what we've got to do is do the other, I don't know, 7 laps. This has now become a game of NASCAR. Always going in circles. Or an oval. If you manage to set a fastest lap, it's usually within like a few thousandths. It's not by very much. And I will say my finger kills after this race because you're doing it for so long. It's like like I said, four and a bit minutes of driving in a circle. It's usually within a few tenths of a second. So yeah, time is going to be when I cross the line, by the way. So you've got about 2 and a bit minutes, there or thereabouts. If the host has anything they want to mention before we wrap this run up, then feel free to go ahead and mention it now.
Of course. Thank you, Crazy, for the $1. Do the testing. Testing being $1 towards the charity. Very nice. Once again, we are raising money for To Write Love on Her Arms. It's a non-profit movement dedicated to presenting hope and finding help for people struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. So make sure you donate to the cause if you have the money to.
So I think this is going to be like a mid to late 117, I want to say. Maybe.
4 laps to go.
Also, we are going to come up with a few back markers, but this is fine. This is fine. We got this. Luckily, we're going in an oval. Yeah, so we've got, like I said, about 2 minutes, there or thereabouts. If that. And then that's it. The run's done, pretty much. This run went way shorter than I think. I mean, even if I did this run, like I said at the start, this is being done on an emulator. It's not being done on console. But console would have been about a minute and a bit slower. So, but there you go. And there you have it. Literally got like 1 minute to go. Well, 2 laps to go. Like I said, you can easily see why my finger's killing. Like, you're just holding the button for ages. And it's like, my finger. Any other racing game, this doesn't actually happen for me, but this is like the only racing game that it does. I'm like, I've got to hold this button forever. Why? I gotta just keep holding it. Just keep holding the button.
Can he keep the lead?
Here we go. Final lap, which means this is gonna be time when I finish this lap. So, whoever's on time, make sure you're ready.
I'm ready.
Be about 10 seconds. There or thereabouts. Fine, I don't get stuffed by another car. Can I keep a consistent 33? And time.
There goes the winner. What an incredible
1:17:28.
Yeah, that's exactly what I got as well. And just to prove it as well, here we go. So this is basically the ending now for the game.
racing here today in Ridge City, You're listening to 76.5 FM.
But yeah,
Ridge City
that's
FM.
Ridge Racer 5.
The city is yours.
As I said, there you go. Thanks for tuning in to RCFO, and then obviously it plays the credits. But as I was saying, there is a medium or standard difficulty, and then a expert difficulty or hard difficulty, shall I say. The hard difficulty is like an extra 10-15 minutes because it has an extra Grand Prix mode on it. But yeah, that is going to wrap Ridge Racer 5. But once it's done, by the way, it's like, congratulations, you have all this. So once you've done all that as well, you've got all your thing, you get a new engine for your car and everything. And then that's it. But yeah, if I go back and do this whole run again, from start to finish, then all them races that I've done will be in randomized order. This is what I was saying at the start. So the races run in exactly the same order from a new game, from a new game file, and then once you've beaten it, if you go back and do everything again, all the races will be randomized. So I won't have the same races. So it makes for a bit of replayability. Plus, I can also go back and do the other 5 cars that I didn't pick originally, along with randomized races and so on. So it does have that sort of sense of replayability. But yeah, so I don't know how much. I think Hundo would probably take 5 hours, maybe 6 hours. I don't know, give or take. It's a fairly short run on these difficulty. Would highly recommend giving it, whether you try it on emulator or console. If you get it on console, great. I believe the leaderboard is mainly console. But yeah, feel free to give this game a try. If you're into Ridge Racer, then definitely give this a try, of course, with him being part of the series. And yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this up here. Like I said, I will be back on Sunday evening with Reservoir Dogs, any percent, so make sure you don't miss that one. Especially if you're not into racing, there's a bit of shooting and things like that, so it's a bit different. The game is very jank as well. It's not like broken or anything, but you'll see what I mean. But on that note, I'm going to give it back to the host. And yeah, just want to quickly say as well, thank you to For Love of Gaming for having me. Obviously, like I said, I'll be back on Sunday, but thanks for having me do this run. And yeah, I'll hand it back to the host. Thank you very much.
Thank you for running. Coming up next after this very short break will be Osborne running a Light Matter any percent NMG on PC. So make sure you stick around for that.
It's getting closer to midnight. I try to get closer to you. Drinking courage from my red cup now. I will soon make a move. Ooh, I can taste it. The bittersweetness of taking a shot. A risk worth taking. If it's a shot of love, baby, I adore you. Maybe I adore you. Yeah, I'm feeling high. I'm up on cloud nine. Baby, I adore you. I try to focus on breathing. My heart is skipping a beat. Your lips against the red cup makes me lose my mind completely. Ooh, I can taste it. The bittersweetness of taking a shot. A risk worth taking it. It's a shot of love. Baby, I adore you. Maybe I adore you. Yeah, I'm feeling high. I'm up on cloud nine. Baby, I adore you. Trying my best not to lose control. I want you, that's all I know. Trying my best not to lose control. 'Cause I adore you, adore you. Trying my best not to lose control. I want you, that's all I know. Trying my best not to lose control. 'Cause I adore you. Baby, I adore you. Maybe I adore you. Yeah, I'm feeling high. I'm up on cloud nine. Baby, I adore you.
When sadness curls itself at the foot of your bed.
When grief finds home in the basement of your chest.
When your heart's garden swears it cannot grow here.
When the day feels too heavy, when the balcony is a thieving distraction.
When the drawers in the kitchen siren to you.
When the night is as heavy as an anchor and you cling to your own shore, remember, you are the ocean.
A single drop in a child's hand
that can hold up a ship when you make a mistake.
When you misstep or misspeak.
When you find yourself underneath the stains of your human.
Because you are human.
When the heavy of it all calls to you like a wailing animal.
Remember, there is nothing wrong with you.
There is everything significant about you.
From your shoulders to your shins.
From the galaxies in your irises
to the orchestra in your throat.
When the friends seem so few.
When the phone doesn't ring.
When it does, but you are too afraid to answer.
Too afraid you are too quiet or take up too much space. Remember, your name does not begin
or end
in silence.
Your story is not over. There are still chapters in this book.
There is still time to fall in love.
To fall out.
To shatter and mend.
To forgive and be forgiven. Keep reading. Crown your failures. Scream, I am worthy, until the stars collapse upon your brilliance.
No, if depression is the verse,
then hope is the chorus. Allow yourself to exist in this melody.
Even if the instrument of your body is tired of playing.
Self-love is not selfish. It is the mantra of someone who recognizes where they have been and where they need to go.
Find your love in the lake.
See how it ripples, how it continues. It is the earth's way of saying you are important, you are endless, be good to you.
Tell yourself, I deserve the keep.
I deserve to love and be loved. I deserve the whole show, the encore, the darkness that falls like a curtain and the morning that will always follow. Will be the voice that sings behind you.
The receiving end of a phone call.
No, you are not alone.
No, you are not broken.
We will run forward to greet you, and together we will dance like wildfire because there is reason to celebrate. We will finally be.
I will see you tomorrow.
I will see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'm living for a new tomorrow.
I'm living for the grace that carries us through our hardest days.
All that was created for me to enjoy.
I'm living for hope.
Christina Perri concerts, plot twists, wedding bells, travel, sweet surprises.
I am living for the day when I finally see that it really does get better.
I live for going on walks with my friends and family and laughing really hard at silly things.
I hope that whatever I do can encourage you that you're worth living for.
I am living for the possibilities. Yes, pain, but also joy and beauty and connection and redemption.
I am living for all of the memories that I have yet to create with the people that I love and all of the people that I have yet to show love to.
I'm living for the future of music.
मैं जी रही हूँ एक नए दिन के लिए.
I am living for the end of generational curses.
Estoy viviendo para ver el amanecer desde la colina, bailar mi canción favorita.
For memories still being made.
I am living for the Olympics because hope has not been cancelled.
Dwi'n byw ar gyfer fy nheulu, fy ffrindiau, am anturiaethau ar sêr. Dwi'n byw am y pocedi bach o golau yn yr eiliadau mwyaf tywyll.
Because our happiness is worth living for.
It's worth seeing whether I can create a better tomorrow for others.
I am worth living for. That my wife and my son are worth living for.
We can all make a difference in this world, and that difference is worth living for.
We can choose to care.
We can keep showing up.
We can keep remembering and reminding each other that it's possible to change.
We've got to keep trying.
You won't have to go alone.
There are people that want to help.
There are people who know how to help.
It is all worth living for.
Your life matters.
I'm living for all those friends who couldn't keep going. And I've actually found that I'm worth living for.
out my best and my worst, learn my lessons. No matter how hard my life would treat me, I'd always get right back up, never worry. 'Cause I got a million reasons to keep holding on. Yeah, I got all that it takes to win and overcome. What I got is just a feeling, but it's oh so strong. It goes on and on, on and on. There's something going on inside of me. I feel you.